All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're diving into some pretty hot conversations happening on Jamaican social media.
Yeah.
We found this post that's really got people talking, and it's arguing that hustle culture is actually holding back Black Jamaicans.
And I think that's a fascinating perspective because, we talk about hustle culture a lot, but this post really looks at it specifically in the Jamaican context
Yeah.
and really gets into the implications for economic empowerment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you might be asking yourself,
Hmm.
what is this post saying?
Yeah.
Give me the TLDR.
Right.
Well, the author's arguing that a lot of Black Jamaicans are out there, hustling, selling things like fake perfume or knockoff watches.
Right.
But meanwhile, other groups are focused on building wealth through ownership,
Hmm.
like, actually owning businesses,
Right.
real estate, you name it.
Exactly. And they give some really specific examples in the post too, right? So they're pointing to how Indian Jamaicans are really strong in the jewelry market, the cell phone market. White Jamaicans often own like these big hotels and corporations.
Right.
And then you have Chinese Jamaicans who have a big foothold in like the import businesses and
Wow.
wholesale.
Yeah, I mean, and it makes you wonder, what are the factors that are maybe preventing Black Jamaicans from accessing these same opportunities?
Yeah.
Is it, a lack of capital? Is it, historical disadvantages? What's going on here?
That's such a good question because that's what the post is trying to get at, right? Like the author is arguing that there needs to be this like shift in mindset among Black Jamaicans.
Right.
A move away from just celebrating the hustle to survive
Right.
and more towards aiming for ownership, like, building businesses.
Owning things.
Owning things, yeah, investing in real estate, getting into franchises,
Okay.
creating systems that generate wealth.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge idea.
It is.
I mean, it really is.
And they also get into these really interesting comparisons of just like cultural attitudes towards entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So like they observe how Indian and Chinese families often emphasize education
Right.
and scaling businesses,
Yeah.
right? Like passing that knowledge down through generations.
Yeah, and I see that all the time. Like you see these businesses that are owned by, second, third generation,
exactly.
descendants, and it's like, wow, this has been in the family
Exactly.
for so long.
And it's so interesting that they contrast that with how street hustle culture is celebrated
Yeah.
by some in the Black Jamaican community. And that's a really provocative point, right?
Yeah.
Because it's almost like it might be limiting their potential.
Yeah, and I think what really stuck with me was when the author talks about how Jamaica's economy is so import heavy,
Mm-hmm.
but Black Jamaicans aren't really involved in those import-export businesses.
It's true.
And you think about, Jamaica has such a huge global impact, like especially with music.
For sure.
But is that translating into economic power for everybody you know?
That's such a good question. And it makes you wonder, right? What if there was more focus on that long-term ownership
Yeah.
and less on this like short-term survival?
Right.
Could that be like a real game changer?
Yeah. So I guess just to kind of like bring it all together,
Yeah.
this post is kind of like a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Right? It's a critique of a system that, might be keeping people trapped in this cycle
Mm-hmm.
of hustling without real pathways to lasting economic empowerment.
Yeah.
And so the author is saying we need to think bigger,
Yeah.
aim for ownership, control your economic destinies.
And I think that's what's so powerful about this post.
Yeah.
Is it leaves us with this question of like what concrete steps could be taken
Mhm.
to make that vision of ownership a reality
Yeah.
for Black Jamaicans.
And what would that look like? What would a brighter economic future look like
Exactly.
if those steps were taken?
I think that's something that we all need to be thinking about.
Absolutely. I think that's a great place to leave it for today. So thanks for joining us for another deep dive, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.